Welcome to Lakefront Hangover, episode 4. So last night was a big episode for you and I.
Absolutely.
So
I was looking forward to last night's episode.
So just a quick little recap. If you didn't see it, it's the Swinger Nudist episode. We had an immense amount of fun.
Oh man, I can't remember how many times we laughed about filming that episode. All the stuff that we filmed that didn't make it into the scene.
It was hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
It was hilarious. I tell everybody I walked away with a 6-pack from laughing so much from this. And it's good to point that out. Just kind of like, what we saw on the show isn't all of the information.
No, you only saw a little piece of it. I mean,
so how did we go from A to Z? Well, they only show points A, S, and Z.
Yeah. You see the very beginning, a couple middle parts, and then the very end.
It's kind of like what you call the fake book.
The fake
They only showed the highlight reel, not all of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, let's get into that.
Mm-hmm.
So, Charles.
Yes.
We got Charles, and Charles is from Vegas.
Charles from Vegas. He lives out there. He's got a business out there, which we've all learned about, is where he caters to swingers, nudists, and stuff like that. And he has a place here at the lake. He's very familiar with the lake. He's has a second home that he comes and visits in the summertime. But he'd grown tired of Vegas and everything, and decided that it was time for him to start looking to relocate his business out here to the Lake of the Ozarks.
Correct. And so we got hooked up with him. He is an actual client of our company, John Farrell Real Estate. He's been a lot of fun to work with. Very interesting, very kind, very nice.
Oh yeah, great, nice guy, very fun to work with, and yeah, I agree, he's very, very nice.
Never has asked us to join his club or anything like that. Never pushed anything on us. He was totally 100% cool.
Absolutely.
You'd never know about him and his business if it wasn't for, us asking about it.
Sure.
So let's talk about the properties. So the first property that we got to was in Sunrise Beach, and obviously the topography of it was pretty substantial. Yeah.
I mean, it was a nice large acreage right there on the water. Had a nice big primary house on it, and a couple additional structures, a couple old homes that are on it.
Yep.
We had really thought that he would be intrigued by the nostalgia of those older homes that had been there forever. Could be turned into little cabins that some of his clients rented.
Yeah.
Couple extra buildings for, like we talked about in the show, where he could have his gatherings and stuff like that.
Yep.
Lots of property. It was a good-sized property with plenty of acreage and stuff, and really thought that he'd be drawn to the fact that it's on the water. You can set it up and have views of the lake, because let's all face it, anytime someone contacts us about something here, we immediately believe that it's the lake itself that's drawing them here.
True.
So you had to think, okay, he wants a big property, he wants some privacy, but you just naturally assume that he'd like to have something that's affiliated with the Lake of the Ozarks.
True. So, and, everybody's got a different level of what they want as privacy.
Sure.
I see a lot of comments on the fake book about previous episodes where people are like, God, they're not even showing what the buyers are actually looking for. Well, how many times in your profession, in our profession, have we started looking at this kind of house, and then we end up all the way over here in left field buying something completely different than what they told us?
Well, I mean, it's a process, and you're absolutely right. We've both done it a lot, where you start with one idea, they tell you what they think they want and what they're looking for. You start looking at that, and eventually it evolves to where you end up over here.
Yeah.
And part of your job as a realtor is to be constantly in communication, listening to what they are telling you, but then also at least seeing what they're seeing when you go look at these properties and say, oh, you know what? I think what you think this is what you really want over here.
Yeah.
And some things are open to interpretation. With Charles, I mean, obviously, again, the property we showed him there in Sunrise Beach had lots of ground, lots of mature trees.
Yep.
Certainly felt like, with all the trees and everything, it should have lots of privacy to it, other than when you're down by the water. But then also the big thing I think we overlooked there was his need for locations for campsites.
Yeah.
And that's part of what we were learning as things went along, is like, hey, he wants to move this business here, but he's also envisioning it to where these people can bring their pull behind campers, RVs, or whatever, and be able to hook up and make a weekend retreat out of it.
And we really didn't actually learn that until after the island, that, he had full scale, RV people coming in and looking for those hookups and stuff like that.
It's all part of the process. I mean, like you hinted to earlier, is so oftentimes you get the basics of what people are looking for, but then as you're showing them property and talking to them, you start learning more about what their plans are. It's like, oh, okay, so we need to kind of change our course here a little bit.
Yeah.
So
it reminds me a lot of a person that I took a class from, phenomenal educator. I won't say their name, but they always said, dig for the pain, dig for the pain. And I never really understood that. Well, what they're actually saying is you're going to get a piece of the information, but you're not getting all of it. And so you got to continue to dig for more information.
Also, another way of saying that as a realtor is to be an active listener. Listen to what your client's saying, interpret it, but then ask more questions.
Correct.
Ask more questions. They tell you something, you ask, okay, what is it about that that's important to you? Why is that important to you? That help guide them, because your clients are looking to you as a realtor for guidance. They think they know what they want. They have a vision of it, but you also need to inform them what's out there and how it fits with what they're looking for.
Correct.
So, and that helps guide them to hopefully a successful ending and finding the property that ultimately is best for them.
True. True. So the topography and just the overall property itself on the first property didn't work out.
And I do want to defend ourselves a little bit here. There are a lot of campsites around the Lake of the Ozarks, beautiful campsites where people have got campers and RVs and all that stuff, but they put a lot of investment into it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go around the lake, and not naming any particular sites, but there are so many places you can go, or right on the water, or right there connected to the water, where you can pull in a camper. But I don't think Charles was ready to make that kind of investment.
Oh, yeah. So it takes a lot of money to make a property at the lake that is lakefront be sustainable for RVs. That's what you're saying.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we've seen that with a lot of companies. As a matter of fact, just when it comes to building in general, we always see a lot of builders that come in from outside the area and they say, oh, I'm going to show these lake people how it's done. And then they end up getting ran out of town because they didn't realize the rock, the topography, and everything else of how important it was. So,
absolutely.
Again, we always go back, local, local, local. Use your local contractors.
Absolutely.
So we got the first property, didn't work out. He didn't want to make the investment on that. So then we go to the island.
Yes, sir.
So the island, which we actually didn't get on to the island, but
I still think we could have gone on that island. I mean, if you would have just ran and jumped.
Yeah.
I mean, you're the most athletic of the two of us, and you could have. I've seen you jump.
Yeah, I didn't have my Speedo on.
No, getting back on the boat, you might have gotten a little wet, but you could have made that jump.
Yeah. Well, and if we would have had a different style boat, well, we didn't, like the boats where they haul all the riprap and stuff. You could run
barge,
that ashore,
things like that.
But again, you think about privacy. Well, an island's pretty damn private. But then again, you start thinking about all the boats shooting by.
Yeah, and Charles was concerned not too far off there. You did have the main shore where you had plenty of homes looking out over the island.
Yeah.
And certainly I think it could have been good if it, not obviously not for campsites, but if you had just a big house in the middle with like a recreational area and trees all around.
Maybe not campsites like what you're used to with the RV, but an actual campsite with a tent, that'd be perfect.
Could be kind of cool camping out on the middle of an island.
Yeah.
So, absolutely.
And, imagine building on that, though. Having to ferry everything
I couldn't
across.
imagine. You can almost double the cost to build something and just figure getting all the material out there.
And that makes me think about Isle del Sol, those condos, before they had the causeway. They had to ferry everything over there.
Oh, man. Yeah, it had to be incredibly expensive to do that.
I mean, that's a story all on its own that I got to hear about how much it costs just to transfer materials for Isle del Sol. So, but yeah, the island, it was a great idea.
Yeah, good idea, but didn't check off any of the boxes.
Didn't check off any of the boxes. So then we go to Show Me Acres.
Show Me Acres, yep.
And what's interesting is most people didn't know that was already established as I don't know if it was swingers, but
our understanding was it was a nudist colony.
Nudist colony,
they catered to nudists and everything. So, I mean, certainly in that realm, there might be some swingers a part of it, but, it was an established nudist colony. The people that owned it, that has what they did for a number of years.
Yeah.
And, as we elaborated in the show, it almost made too much sense, for what Charles wanted to do in that type of business in the past. And you get way out there, and it's out there in Stover. A couple 100 acres and just nothing but trees all year round it. Yes, no, you can't get any more private than that.
And that event center was incredible.
Oh yeah, I could see he could have had a blast with that event center.
Yeah, and just so we're clear, yes, my wife did rip me apart when I made the DJ comment. I'm not DJing at these events, just so we're clear. I'm a retired DJ.
Yeah.
I don't do it anymore. I'm not into swinging. Not that there's anything wrong with it, if that's your flavor. I don't know how somebody could handle more than one woman. That's all I can handle.
So she tightened up that ball and chain on you a little bit.
Yeah, she gave me a couple looks, and it was like, honey, it was just for the show. I swear to God. So, but yeah, I'm gonna have to bring home some flowers tonight.
Yeah,
but
make up some, get some brownie points with her.
So the sellers were actually there when we were filming. Great people.
Yeah, very nice people.
They kept their clothes on the whole time.
Yeah.
Great people, and Charles really enjoyed the place. There was a lot of great things about it, and we had the hotel rooms and everything. God, I just got to thinking about that one scene that we shot. Anybody that knows me knows that there's a lot of times when my mouth just won't stop, and when I see a green light, I go for it. And so Charles had made some comments throughout the hotel room scene about needing some mattress covers and stuff like that. And of course, they got it on film, and we almost fell over laughing because he said we needed mattress covers. And my comment was, oh, really? Why do you need mattress covers? And then some things were said that I'm not going to say publicly on TV.
Yeah, no, it'd be...
but the camera guy fell over laughing.
Oh, you hit your knees laughing. It was great.
The assistant director, she just had a cow. We can't put that on TV. Yeah,
we love you, Stacy. You're awesome.
Yeah, Stacy, nice. You were hilarious. So, but ended up, we were not able to consummate a deal on that property.
Yeah, we tried to put it together, but there was just some challenges that ultimately Charles decided that just wasn't ultimately going to work out for him.
Yeah, so it was a lot of fun. We learned a lot about Charles and his business and that. And if you want to know more about his business, we'd be happy to hook you up with him.
Yeah,
because we don't know anything about that business.
Yeah,
I think we got to talk about the ship box.
The poo box, yes, sir. I was taken by big surprise with that one. That was some classic Ozark engineering right there.
They had the sink with the water pipe, the drain pipe coming out.
I saw that. That was very odd,
But I've seen stuff like that. All of and it's not like everybody's doing it, but you see certain things. I always tell everybody Home Depot empowers morons like me to think we can actually do it. Matter of fact, contractors love me because I'll end up going and buying and trying to do it. And then they pay or charge me double to fix it.
And rebuy everything that you messed up.
Oh, man, it's absolutely horrible. But, we've seen a lot of things. I never forget, 4 years ago, I was showing a house and they had a lower level. And there was no plumbing down there, but they had a toilet. It was literally an incinerator.
Really?
It was an incinerator toilet. I never forget it. It was quite comical.
That just kind of baffles my mind right now, an incinerator toilet.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I told Carrie about it. She's like, what do? Take a poo and then throw a match in the toilet? I said... I didn't stick around to find out.
You didn't give it a test run or anything?
No. But, everybody's got their weird things. I mean, if you can't fix it with duct tape, well, obviously it's broken kind of thing, So they had, plumbing going for the sink into the shower. They had the box that was there. But then Peggy said that they just hadn't got the septic installed yet, right?
Yeah, but it seemed awful odd to me. You're talking, they were saying something like 12 to 18 months to get the septic installed. And
how often do septic installers get behind?
Well, I'm sure they're all behind all the time, especially the good ones.
Yeah.
It just seemed like there was an extended period of time to get a septic installed.
You make a good point there. The good ones are always behind. How many times have we dealt with clients from out of the area that are always looking for somebody to get right on top of it? And it's like, hey, if you're looking for somebody that's ready to go, maybe there's a reason why they're ready to go.
You probably don't want them.
It's true.
The best ones are booked, and you got to wait for them. If they're available right now, they're probably not the one you want to hire.
It's true.
But what I found interesting about Peggy's client and friend, she's obviously started a boat captain business,
Yeah.
which is obviously a big thing here at the Lake of the Ozarks.
Yeah.
I liked hearing the success that she was told by other people that couldn't be done or whatnot, and she managed to make it happen as a growing business for her. But she's still operating on a tight budget to try and pick up a property where I'm assuming where she could live and keep her boats there at the same time, so that she could operate out of that location.
Yep.
And you talk about, I think she was up to $350,000 or something like that to buy a lakefront property with some sort of residence on it that she could live out of and have multiple boat slips. I think I heard like 3 pontoons or something. That's a really tough challenge to find something like that.
Yes.
Which made
Absolutely.
sense why they were looking at pretty unique properties. You saw that first one with the A-frame, back of a cove. You knew instantly just looking at it being back in the cove, more than likely you're going to have shallow water situation there.
Yep.
Luckily during the summertime, or during the main season when she's probably doing the bulk of her business, the lake's at full pool, at least under normal conditions, maybe not going to have any issues unless she's trying to put her boats up on a hoist.
Yeah.
But as soon as they started talking about getting out that tape measure and that's in the back of a cove like that, most realtors already knew that thing wasn't going to close.
Now let's talk about this, because somebody made a comment. They said, I find it hard to believe that you don't know the water depth before you get out to the property. What website is out there that you can actually see the water depth underneath every single dock?
If they're out there, I don't know of them.
No, there is none.
And that's why we keep tape measures in our truck. I have a designated tape measure in my truck for measuring the water depth. And because I've had to replace a few over the years due to rusting, I keep a nice little rag so I can dry it off when I'm pulling out of the water. But that's, as a realtor at the Lake of the Ozarks, at least the ones that are truly protecting their clients and know what they're doing will always have that tape measure handy so they can run down there and measure that water depth, at least to make sure their client knows, hey, you love this property, you want to buy this property, you might have a situation that you're going to be dealing with shallow water.
Now, is it a bad situation to have shallow water?
It's not necessarily a bad situation. A lot of it depends on what your intended use is. 2 big things is A, if you expect to do a lot of boating in the off season, which is a lot of people that do, we had multiple days in February here that were 80 degrees.
Yep.
A lot of people are like, hey, it's 80 degrees in February. I'm going to drop my boat in the water and go.
Yep.
But if you're in a shallow water location, there's a good chance that either A, your dock's sitting on ground, or B, there's just not enough water underneath the dock to get your boat off the hoist and get it out.
Yep.
So it's a lifestyle choice as well, but the benefit could be that you're going to get something for a lot less money because it's not as desirable or as valuable. So you can get a lakefront property that's limited and restricted in the time period that you can use it, but you're still on the water for a cheaper price.
Yeah.
The other complication is, depending on the topography of the ground underneath the dock, there could be some potential for dock damage or boat lift damage or boat damage if you don't get your boat out of there before the lake drops.
Yeah. Now, see, I have a community dock that I have a slip in, and our dock, I just bought my first boat last year, and so I kept my boat on the lift, and I had never paid attention to the water level on the community dock. Well, guess what? Dock's basically sitting on dry ground right now.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is that a bad problem? Well, it's not great, but then again, it's not astronomically difficult. I mean, I had no other option. If I wanted a slip in my community dock, that was the one place I had to go.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I would have to drive all the way across town to get to a different marina. And I didn't like that idea. I like being able to walk down. So my wife and I, we made the settlement. Hey, we want the slip here. So we will, mid-October, we're done with the boat and we can't get it back out till May.
Mm-hmm.
Just it's the risk versus reward decision that we decided to make.
Yep. And that's, it comes at a cost benefit.
Yeah.
But you knew it, you understood it, and you went along with it. You knew that was the price you're going to pay, is that you get February, March, April days that are really nice. You'd like to go out on the water. You can't.
That's
because
true.
Your boat's either A, you pull it out of the water and stick it somewhere for the wintertime, or B, it's on that hoist and you're not getting it down until the lake level comes back up.
Yeah. And most of the lots that have that deep water situation are already built on.
Mm-hmm.
So either A, you're going to have to buy a pre-existing house, or B, you're going to have to buy a pre-existing house, tear it down, and then build a new one.
Yep.
Which we're starting to see a lot of people doing that.
We started seeing that a little bit here and there many years ago, but as the lake has continued to grow and become more valuable, all of the best properties for the most part have already been purchased and built on.
That's right.
So yes, we are seeing more and more often where people are going ahead and buying those properties, tearing down that house and building something brand new.
That's right. That's right. What did we not touch on?
I think we've pretty much touched on everything. It was a fun episode last night.
It was a blast.
Love for everybody to get to meet Charles and what he was looking for. That was a lot of fun to film that. I thought Peggy did a good job trying to help her client find some property. Obviously on a tight budget. And everything. So I hope everyone enjoyed the episode.
I did too. We had a lot of fun making this show. It was so much fun. It was so interesting. And we don't know if we're going to get a season 2 yet.
Haven't heard yet. We're hoping for a season 2. We're hoping that we have some good enough ratings and there's interest in it. But yeah, we haven't found out yet if there's a season 2 or not. But hopefully, we'll find out soon. And if we get the announcement, then hopefully we can let everyone know on Lakefront Hangover.
Yeah. Knowing our luck, you and I will probably get canned. And everybody else will get greenlit.
They'll be like, we got to get some better realtors in here for these guys.
So. So we talked about some good stuff. We talked about a whole lot of nothing, but it was a lot of fun. I'd been looking forward to this episode. I know you were. It was a lot of fun, and we appreciate you guys. What am I forgetting?
That's it. I think we're good. We'll just see everybody next week on Tuesday for episode 5 of Lakefront Hangover.
And you always sign off with...
Go Chiefs.
See you guys.